Sawyer, very curious before we move on to the next topic here. Like, how did you get involved with Tesla? Because I think for almost all of us, you were probably the very first person we all followed because of your breaking news. You and of course Omar and a couple others, but you seem to have always been there, and you look pretty young. So tell me how the story is.
Yeah, I turned 28 a few months ago. I've been tweeting, I think, a little over 3 years now, daily, and it really is like a full time thing. It's 24/7. I think in the last 3 years I've been doing it. I've taken a total of maybe 4 days off doing it. So it's definitely a full time thing. And I first got interested in Tesla around 2014, 2015, and I think I bought my first Tesla shares late 2015. But it was like 4 shares, I think. But I think I sold them because I wasn't confident, or I think my mom talked me out of it. I was like new to investing at that time. And then I kept following Tesla. I was listening to every earnings call back then in like 2017, 2018. And I went all in, every penny I had in mid 2018, because I just felt like this is I want to switch all my Apple and Netflix stock to this company. I love the mission. I love Elon. I just love the product. And yeah, that sort of evolved from there. And then I just started tweeting about Tesla, I think 2019, maybe a little bit.
Oh,
And then
only 2019. That's interesting. I had the feeling you were there forever.
well, my
Exactly.
first ever Tesla related tweet was the Model 3 launch event in 2016.
Okay.
But I didn't start daily tweeting until around 2020, actually.
And
Yeah.
how did you become the breaking news guy? Because listen, if you're watching this for the first time, and you probably know who Sawyer Merritt is, but if you don't, he's the first person you want to follow if you're interested in Tesla. On Twitter, he's at Sawyer Merritt. He is by far, there's no one closer to him. He gets the breaking news. He gets the most important news ahead of all of us. So how did you do that, and how do you keep doing that, Sawyer?
I felt like 3 or so years ago, there was a lot of great EV blogs, and they had been around for years. But I felt like most of the Tesla community and a lot of the fun was on Twitter, and there wasn't an account dedicated to news in a breaking news fashion and just like minute by minute stuff. Sure, I could, release a blog post on there, but I wanted to do it right on the platform itself without any paywalls, without any, ads or anything, and just keep people the best informed that I could. And I think that resonated people. People love, I think back then Omar had less than 1,000 followers. I started out at 300 followers.
What? No.
Yeah. Yeah.
No.
Homar's blog was created in May of 2020. So it's not even that
Oh,
old.
but no, his story was that he was Steve Jobs' ghost, and then somehow we got
I followed that account, but then it got taken away. Yeah.
taken out, and then so he had to restart over again. But
Yeah.
really,
They
there
did
was
have
a
the
time
third
you had
row account.
300. How many followers you have now, sir?
I think it's like 505,000, something like that. So it's the growth is pretty crazy, and that just shows you how much the Tesla community has grown over the years. Like having 1,000 followers in the community 3 years ago was a lot, and now it's like, look how many people have 1,000 now. It's just like almost everyone, because we all follow each other. So it's pretty wild, and I still love doing it. I still love informing people the best I can. My goal is to be the best news aggregator that I can, and so people don't have to spend hours watching videos or reading blogs. They can just go to my page and just scroll my feed, and they'll be up to date on everything Tesla.
Well, that's what we all do.
And how much time per day do you spend on that? Are you constantly there, or I mean?
No, not constant, but I would say it's a full-time job's worth doing it. Like either talking, I talk to a lot of people every day, and either searching for news. I found ways to like save a lot of time not having to like Google or search things. I have certain feeds that I use now, which are really helpful. But yeah, no, it's definitely a full-time job, 7 days a week.
Yeah.
And yeah, well, we get to the monetization later on, but I mean, it's remarkable because did you consciously take a decision? Okay, I take this now on as a full-time job, because at that time there was nothing monetized about it, right?
No, I just did it as a fan. There was no expectation that anybody would make any money from doing this. I was just doing it for fun, and then Elon bought Twitter.
Tesla is a big company. I'm just going to interject. Tesla is a big company, and my guess is a lot of the employees get news from your feed before they get it, sometimes internal from the company.
It's funny you say that. There were some employees that reached out to me in recent months saying, we hear stuff about Tesla before Tesla tells us internally. They can see it from my feed, which is pretty funny.
Yeah. Or sometimes not at all. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
But yeah, no, it's cool that a lot of the, even I love Tesla because they really interact with the community, unlike any other company, big company that I've met. I think if even a few executives follow me, they interact with us.
Elon follows you.
Yeah, of course, Elon as
and
well.
subscribes to you.
Yep.
And so I was going to say that people, you need to subscribe. If there's only one count to subscribe to, well, two. You need to subscribe to Sawyer. He deserves it. And you need to subscribe to Alexandra for $1 a month, and she gives it all to nonprofit. She gives it to a nonprofit. But for Sawyer, you are about to get married. You have a what do you call that? A
Fiance.
Fiance. It's been so decades ago.
Fiance.
Nearly wed.
No. You're a fiance. You're not married yet, right?
No, not married yet.
Okay.
I proposed like
fiance,
3 months ago.
Barbara, right? And she said, though, instead of charging $3 a month, you should be charging $10 a month. And that really is true. Your value that you provide is probably the most of anyone else. And so I highly recommend folks to subscribe to you. But you're worth $10 a month.
Well, I can't even. Yeah, Twitter actually, or X now, they don't allow you to change the pricing, so that's fine. I said it was $3 a year ago. That's fine though.
They will soon. Apparently, they announced that. But so Elon follows you, and so let me backtrack a little bit back to Q3. So this is Alexandra made this tweet out, and Elon replied to it. But basically, she said in Q3 regarding this potential factory shutdowns. If you look at Elon and Zach's comments, they actually say a little bit down for a lot of factory updates, just probably a slight decrease in production in Q3, minimize idle costs, not profound reduction. So some people are very concerned about this massive reduction in production numbers. It probably be expected to be what expected, right, guys?
Yeah, I'd say so. Didn't Elon say, or I think it was Elon, that there was a possibility that production could be above what it was in Q2? Oh. I could be wrong, but
I think shipments can certainly be above where they were in Q2, and that would make sense given the inventory.
Yeah, I know. I expect deliveries to be higher.
The delta of deliveries and production could actually be smaller.
Yeah, that's true. I think 470 something, right around there, 480 maybe.
Oh, you're positive. 450.
450. Okay, we'll see.
Sawyer, where do you consider yourself? Are you you're definitely a Tesla bull like we are, but are you an Uber bull? We just found out that Alexandra overnight turned into a friggin' hyper bull. Just overnight.
It wasn't overnight. I just never had a 10-year model.
I think privately I'm more. I think privately I'm more of a hyper bull, but I try not to be too hyper on Twitter because I think that's not good for people. Like I think it's good to be somewhat unbiased in some topics, but I can't hide it. Like I'm an investor. I love the company.
No, but actually it's true because I think few people know, like I didn't know that you're an all-in. You sold Apple to buy Tesla, which is my story, but I didn't know that you're all in, and I didn't know that you would consider yourself a hyper bull because you're very, very even-keeled, very realistic.
A month from now, I think it'll be 5 years since I went all in, still all in today. Yeah. Right on the roller coaster.
Herbert approves.
Yeah. I approve. But see, the thing is, you didn't show any emotion during the 2022 crash. You were like nothing. You're just like news.
Early on in my Twitter account, I used to post a lot of screenshots of the stock price going up, and in early 2022, I felt that it was just detrimental to people. It was just too much focus on short term. And I was like, I got to lead by example here and like stop talking about the stock every single day. So that's why I don't really post screenshots unless there's like certain milestones or, it hits 300. That's fine, I guess. But posting daily screenshots or like technical analysis or whatever, I just feel like people shouldn't really be focusing on that so much as, what the company's doing itself.
Yeah, I completely agree. And we actually try to stay out of that as well. I mean, there is a clientele for everything, right? There are a couple of traders among us, and I think they have their right to exist and discuss these things. But if you're not a trader, you shouldn't play trader. You see what I mean? If I'm not a trader, so why in the world would I comment on trading and on short-term movements? And just to add to what you earlier said, Herbert, nobody ever asked me to do a 10-year model until I was invited on that other channel a couple of weeks ago, and then I had to sit down. So my choice then is, and we can discuss this at another moment more in detail, do I really build a model like the institutional investors do, with then discounting it and do all those things and really start from cash flow analysis and all that? Or do I take the big lines that Elon and Drew and Zach give us, meaning how much they expect cars to sell, that at one point energy will catch up with the sales numbers of cars, and then the profitability that Elon pointed out at my question when at the shareholder meeting, right? We had the 25% energy margin, we had the 20 to 25% car margin that could become 80% when we add software as a service. So when you start playing with that, and when you hear him talk about the potential of the bots, and you put the numbers to those 4 business lines and think that in 10 years we are there, well, then there's no other conclusion than getting to skyrocket numbers. And I actually think my number is still under where I could have gone if really I was in a hyper mode. And that's the thing that people often forget. They are focused on a couple of issues in the short term, but they forget the big picture. And the big picture is so convincing that if you can just hold still and if you understand that you don't need this money for quite some time yet, well, there we go. And I mean, you have to stay vigilant, and some of these scenarios may not play out. So you have to, watch the market, but just don't get too nervous for the short-term stuff.
Yeah, I think if you're wanting to be a Tesla investor, you have to have a multi-year time horizon, because otherwise it's just going to be a brutal ride for you.